Hello, my name is Danai Maragoudaki, and I am from Solomon in Greece. And this is my colleague Marius Münstermann from CORRECTIV Europe, and we are going to describe how basically we did the Demolition Atlas in Europe.
Thanks, everyone. So the project that we're going to present actually started a while ago from our colleagues in Switzerland. And now, thanks to the support of Journalism Fund, we've been able to cooperate with Solomon to work on the subject of demolitions, which we call hidden mass phenomena. So you might wonder why it is hidden mass phenomena, because if you look at the picture, it's quite in plain sight. But there's very little data about this, and there is a lot of implications, environmental and social implications, that are not really much debated in society and in politics. And that's why we decided to look into this in more detail. So let's go through this quickly. Why would you investigate demolitions in the first place? Why do it with crowdsourcing, which I'm going to talk about in a minute? How does the crowdsourcing tool actually work? What do we do with the data? And that's probably the most important point, so let me stress this right away. We're here to invite you to collaborate on this, like we do with Solomon. We would like to reach out to other news outlets and journalists across Europe to look into the subject of demolitions with you. So we have a booth here at the Media Village, so you're happily invited to come over and see if there's something we could collaborate on. So let me start with some basics. Like I said, there's not much data out there, but there's some estimates. So for Germany, the latest figure that we have is 12,600 buildings being demolished every year. That results in a loss of housing, of flats. And the way, or the reason we demolish is mostly to make way for new construction. And all of this is related to quite a lot of problems. So we talk about lots of waste. It's probably one of the biggest waste streams in Europe, definitely is in Germany. So more than half of all waste is from construction and demolition sites. We estimated that it's about 7 tons of waste every second. And there's the ecological side to that. So there is some of the waste is hazardous, obviously. There is the climate aspect, so all of these buildings have been built in the past using lots of energy to produce all the steel, all the concrete, and if you demolish that, it's kind of lost energy that you have to produce again to build new buildings. And then, of course, there's the social side to the issue, so who gets to decide which people are being driven out of buildings that are then demolished, who gets to live in the new buildings that are being built. So usually we're talking about gentrification here, where the rents is rising, and also we're talking about a loss of history, so a lot of landmark buildings are being demolished, and Danai is going to talk about that later. And basically, bottom line, if you talk to experts, is that energy efficient renovation is the way to go, so we must not demolish as much as we do currently, and there is always ways to look into old buildings and to preserve them, and I think the venue that we're in today is a very good example of that. So what do we do? As I said, we don't have much data, but there is people who are interested in this subject. So citizens are very interested in their neighborhoods. So they realize when buildings that they used to grow up with are suddenly vanishing. There is usually not much citizen participation, though. So there is a lack of information. Architects know many details, but they don't really know what to do with all that info. And activists, usually, they learn about demolitions when it's quite too late. So we thought that let's bring together all these people who are already interested in the subject, and let's see what we can do with their knowledge. Sorry. And the way we do this is using a tool that we call the Crowd Newsroom, which CORRECTIV has developed, and we've used it in the past, not just for this investigation, but for many others. And the basic idea is that anyone can contribute data and information to the project, which then we put on a map after verifying it, obviously. And then, as we do usually with any kind of story, we do interviews, we go to different authorities, try to find different data sets, combine all this data, and then come up with relevant stories that we then feed back to the source that, or to the crowd that sourced this information to us. This is kind of what it looks like. It's a questionnaire that you can design in any way you want, depending on the kind of story that you're looking for. So in this case, we ask people to provide us with details about the building that is being demolished or is threatened with demolition. And then you have a map like this for Germany. We have the same for Switzerland. And you can zoom in, obviously. You can find more detailed information about specific buildings. So it's also a story that we can then share with more local newsrooms that can pick up the stories. We have a gallery, obviously. And our idea was, so the database as such is good because there is no reliable official government data about this, but we want to go, obviously, a bit deeper from there. So after verifying the entries, we then look for certain stories that are there. So we can go through the database, we can set our own tags. One of the tags is potential story, which is a good tag that we can go back to afterwards when we export everything as an Excel sheet. And we want to find the systematic drivers of this phenomenon, let's say. So we are looking into the real estate developers, we're looking into banks who are financing this. And in the end, it's going from the data, it's a normal journalistic investigation. Let's skip this. And then you can come up with stories like this, where we could prove that public companies, which are supposed to provide affordable housing, actually make a lot of money by demolishing and building new buildings that are then rented at a much higher price. We also looked at the waste stream coming from demolitions. We looked into, we were able for Switzerland in that case to provide new figures that were not available before. And yeah, I'm going to keep it short for now and hand over to you, Danai.
You're fast. Okay, thank you. So basically, as you can see, this is Athens. Let's start from that. I'm going to give you a little bit of insight about what's going on with demolitions regarding our part of the project, which is about Greece, as you understand. So the whole idea is that basically the character of the city is not determined only by its citizens, obviously, but also by its buildings. So here in Athens, at least, and not only in Athens, what we see the last years is a bulk of demolitions that basically change our cities. One of the things that we have seen is basically what people call renoviction sometimes, that you can either see some buildings being demolished, in their place, you have some really high apartments or buildings being constructed, usually from foreign companies. And usually these buildings, they have, for example, luxury apartments, or they are constructed for short-term rentals. But the result is that you have people being evicted from their own neighborhoods and cities and towns. Sorry for this. Basically, even though in Greece, between 2019 and 2025, we had about 8,000 permits for demolition issued throughout Greece. As you understand, this is a big number, at least for our country. That is a country of, let's say, 10, 11 million people. So even though we had demolition stopped during the financial crisis, that is 2010-15, let's say, after the financial crisis and especially after COVID, the COVID pandemic, construction resumed, so also demolition resumes. Yeah, go to the next one. Yes, because, no, I already have to, thank you. So this is another example of, let's say, the most threatened buildings of being demolished in Greece are the ones of 1920s and 30s, and that is because, let's say, in Greece we have a law that protects buildings that are more than 100 years old, so as you understand, the others that are not, they are in danger of being demolished. So, right now it's estimated that about 80% of Athens' architectural heritage has been lost, and we are talking about buildings that are before the 40s. As I told you, in their place you have high-rise apartment buildings, etc., etc. So basically, with this project, what Marius described before, is that we are trying to see who demolishes these buildings, to get data and understand specifically which neighborhoods are changing, who is doing this change, and what happens socially and economically to the neighborhoods after that. Can you go to the next one? Thank you. So, even though in Greece we have a really low, let's say, ranking in data transparency, in this project we were lucky enough because the Technical Chamber of Greece, it actually has data of all the permits given for demolitions, and that's throughout Greece. So what we did is that we took, so basically, if a company or a person wants to demolish a building, they go to the municipality and the respective committee. Let's say they ask to get a permit, and then this permit is uploaded to the technical chamber. With the help of a great colleague, Danai, we managed to scrape the data in our transparency portal. And we got basically 21,000 permits dating back from 2019 to 2025, so basically until now. These permits, they are partial and a total demolition. So we basically took all the ones that are regard total demolitions, and that, as I told you before, it's about 8,000. After that, we selected the ones that we could scrape their coordinates and we could find where they are located, and that led us to 2,800 basically permits, and we uploaded them with the help of our colleagues. We upload them to this interactive platform. Okay, the next one, please. So basically, this is Greece, and these are the total demolitions that we have from 2019 to 2025. As you see, most of them are 1,600 are in Athens. We uploaded most of them. However, that gave us only a few data on the platform. That is the address and what exactly was demolished, like a house that has 1 store or 2 stores or something like that. Our next move was basically to ask for the people to share their, that was the point of crowdsourcing basically, and share more than that. That is pictures of before and after a demolition. That is more specifically to put, can you go to the next slide? To put specific data, more than, as I told you, the number, the city, and the year of construction, but also some more info, like if they have memories from the house, from the specific building, if it was something important for their neighborhood when they used to grow up, or stuff like that. And this is actually, that did happen. And it was really nice to see because people started giving you also info that you could go on and comment. And for example, you can put on the story, I mean, in the back end of the platform and say, okay, this is a cool story to look for and search afterwards. I think, the next one, please. Basically, this is an example. For example, this is an example of what they gave us. A person that put up some info on a specific building in Patras, where they could also put some info on architectural interest that it might have, etc., etc. The point is that the info we got from the people, one thing is that it makes people be more interesting on what this project is. It gets them involved. It's really important, at least for me, it was really important to see how much people cared for their neighborhoods, for their cities, because that made them wanting to be involved. Of course, there is also another thing that I would note, is that sometimes there is a big difference between people telling you that this is a cool project and how important it is that it's being implemented. In the same time, it's not easy for them to go outside and take the pictures and do, let's say, all the work. However, our project is our platform. I mean, the Greek one is now up like 1 month or so, but we will see also the following months what's going to happen. So, thank you.
Thanks.